I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. I haven't spoken to my guest in a while. I have with me Tariq Nasheed. He's an author and film producer who also calls himself an anti-racism advocate. It's good to see you again, man.
It's good. How the hell did I get back here? But what's up, Jesse?
We had a good time on the radio show.
We did.
What is an anti-racism advocate?
Yeah, I'm an anti-racism strategist. I look up for ways to try to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice, because unfortunately we're in a global system where white supremacy dominates all areas of activity. So we need to replace that system with a just system.
Define white supremacy.
White supremacy means people who believe through speech, thought, and action that they should dominate, control, and mistreat people classified as non-white. And we're dominated by that system completely globally.
How do you know that?
Because they said it. The people who put white supremacy in action, they specifically said that they were doing that. You go back to the so-called forefathers of this nation, and even in some of the European nations, they specifically said we're going to create a system of white supremacy where the people who are classified as non-white will be the inferiors. They put these things into law, they put them into practice, and they put them into military defense. They defended these laws militarily, and that's where we are now.
And you said globally they've done this.
Globally, absolutely.
And so white people are smarter than black people, and have they done this to all other people? Or
yeah,
all people.
All people. No, all people are dominated.
All people color.
All people who are classified as non-white, they are dominated by the white supremacists.
So how are white people God's chosen people?
No.
Because you say no?
No.
Then why were they able to sit down and make a decision like that? We're going to build a system that control all people of color. We're going to do this and do that, and then the people of color have fallen into that.
Great
so
question.
Somebody had to be smart and somebody had to be dumb.
Yep.
And it seems to me that the people of color are the dumb one, because as you said, it's the white people who are making this happen, right?
I agree 100%.
And why not overcome being dumb rather than trying to stop the smart man from doing what he does?
Because non-white people are too dumb to get smart.
Really?
Yeah,
so
because Neely Fuller, there's a brother named Neely Fuller who said that the white supremacists, and I separate white people and white supremacists. There's three people, as our brother Neely Fuller said, on the planet. You have white, non-white, and white supremacists. The white supremacists are the smartest people on the planet. I 100% agree with that.
Wow. And God made them that way?
No, God didn't make them that way, but they just evolved that way because they knew that their numbers were low in the global scheme of the planet. So they had to come up with ways to survive, and they had to come up with codes. So they had to codify their actions with each other to dominate the rest of the planet. And people who are non-white, they haven't figured out those codes, and they don't understand that they have to have codes in order to combat that. So we're still fighting over tribal bullshit. And that's our problem as people who are victims of white supremacy. And we haven't been smart enough to figure that out. So I agree with you to that extent.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to do with God, just because somebody's dominating.
Made human beings.
Okay,
and
just
it will have to have something to do with him.
Well,
if he made white people smart, and you sound like he only made a few white people smart enough to control the world. And make people of color do what they want to do.
So if you can dominate people
and control them.
So let me understand what you're asking. So if you can dominate people and control people, God made you smarter.
No, well, there are evil people who can do that too.
Right. So I agree. That's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of white supremacists.
But
they are evil.
Still controlling dumb people, because
right.
You have to be dumb to allow someone to manipulate and control you. But I want to ask you this.
Well, let's unpack that though. I don't want to lose that. That was very interesting. And I would have to ask you, were Jewish people in Nazi Germany dumb for being dominated by Hitler?
You mentioned the Jews. There are white people who are blaming the Jews for their situation.
Right.
If these people are so smart, why can't they manipulate the Jews too?
If who's smart now?
If the whites are so smart, as you say that they are, supremacists, why can't they control the Jews?
Okay, you have to define what a Jewish person is now, because the definition of Jewish, it kind of fluctuates, because you have Jewish people who are classified as white. So
and are you putting all those in the same basket?
No, because you have Jewish people who are black too, because that's why I want to define what a Jewish person is racially.
So, but when you mention white supremacy,
you overlooked that, brother.
No, I'm coming to that.
Okay,
so
you got to define what a Jewish person is racially.
First, I'm trying to find out.
But back in Nazi Germany, they had a clear definition of what it was racially, because the thing thing is the Jewish people were white, but they weren't white enough. So they wanted to get out the mulatto strain out of Europe. They've always done that. Even Stalin did that. There was another Holocaust before that with the Holodomor that they had in the Ukraine. So there's always been this thing of getting out that darker melanated bloodline, no matter how thin it is, out of Europe. They've been doing that for a long time. So
let me
a lot of
ask,
Jewish people are classified as white now.
So are you personally classifying the Jews with the whites that you call white supremacists?
No, because you have white Jews and you have black Jews.
So are any Jews in that category of white supremacy?
Yes, you have Jews in the Klan.
And
there's Jews in the Klan. There's Jews in the alt-right. You have a lot of Jews who do practice white supremacy. Therefore,
and are there blacks in that too?
If they're practicing white supremacy, are they really Jewish? Because white supremacy is its own religion.
Are blacks included in that category as white supremacy as well?
You can't be a black white supremacist.
You said they were black Jews.
Right, but
I
didn't say in the black
But none
Jews,
of them are white supremacists?
No, because as a matter of fact, over in Israel, the black Jews are being persecuted and punished, and they have lawsuits against people practicing white supremacy on them.
So just to get it right, there are white supremacists, and there are some of them are mixed with white Jews who are white supremacists. And you said there are black Jews, but no black Jews are white supremacists.
What I'm saying,
are you saying that?
Because I don't know, you're kind of muddling all of these definitions, and I want to make it very clear. White supremacy transcends religion. You can't equate race and religion and make it the same thing. Race and religion is two different things.
But according to you, no blacks are a part of the white supremacist movement.
Well, they're black collaborators. They're black collaborators with white supremacy, but they can't be white supremacists themselves. They're still victims of white supremacy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What is it like being a man and spending a lifetime looking at white people and complaining about them and trying to get them to let you be a supremacist or a real man? I can't imagine living a lifetime thinking that some other man, whether he's white, black, Jewish, whatever it might be, Asian, is holding me back in life. As a man yourself, what does that feel like?
Well, I don't complain to the white supremacists. All of my messages are for the victims of white supremacy.
Right, but your whole thing is about the white man.
The white supremacists, not the white man, the white supremacists.
Right, it's still about men. They are white men.
No, the white supremacists, because you have white female supremacists too.
So men and women, white.
No, white supremacists.
Right.
Let's be very clear.
What does it feel like to be a man who believe that these people are holding you back?
Right.
And so you spend a whole lifetime building your life around them, trying to stop them, and they're moving on with life and doing what they do anyway.
Right.
What does that feel like?
What do you mean, what does it feel like? I feel like a victim of white supremacy.
So you feel like a victim?
I'm a victim. I'm a victim of white supremacy. Yeah.
And so are they holding you back financially?
Holding me back financially? Well, they can.
Are they?
They can.
Are they?
They can.
No, but are they?
They can.
Well, I didn't ask you if they could.
They can. If I get too powerful, yeah, they'll chop my stuff down just like they chop everybody else's stuff down. For example, we get into that money. I want to unpack that. I want to unpack that about that whole money thing.
Are they holding you back
because you can make a lot of money. They'll do the Bill Cosby thing. They can put all types of crazy charges on you. They can deplete your money. So
are they holding you back financially?
What do you mean, are they holding me back? I'm in a prison called white supremacy that's global. So we're allowed, certain black people are allowed to have certain resources, but they know they can take it back.
Are they holding Tariq Nasheed back financially?
I'm in a system where they can hold me back.
But right now they're not holding you back.
Well, they can hold me back.
Are they holding you back?
Define holding me back.
You don't know are they holding you back from being successful in your life?
Well, I'm successful because I understand white supremacy, and I'm successful as far as I can be, as much as I can be, because they can stop my success at the drop of a hat. There was Malcolm X was successful until they killed him. Dr. King was successful until they killed him. So I can still be killed no matter how much money I have.
Are you saying
so I don't define my success through money.
Right now they're not holding you back.
Yes, I'm telling you, in a system of white supremacy, they can murder me with impunity right now.
Do you feel that they
are holding me back? There was in Nazi Germany, you had rich Jews going into the gas chamber, so holding me back, were they held back?
Do you feel that the white supremacist male is a better man than you?
No, they're smarter than black people collectively, yes.
Are they smarter than you?
Black people, well, to a certain degree, I would say yes, because I haven't figured out how to replace the system of white supremacy with justice yet. So I guess I'm not smart enough because I haven't figured it out yet. That's why I work every day to try to figure that out.
Do you believe that human beings are in a fallen state?
What does that mean?
Have fallen away from God.
Human beings falling away from God?
Yes.
No, not all.
No,
Not all.
you
That's,
believe-
that's interesting, though. Falling away from God. So how do you fall away from God?
So first,
Because
do
God
you
is omnipresent. How do you fall away
let
from
me
something
just
that's
ask first, do you
omnipresent?
believe that human beings are in a
Brother,
fallen state?
Brother, I'm trying to get you to define what you're
I'm
saying.
trying to
brother.
hear your thoughts. You're my guest. I'm trying to see
but-
how you are seeing things.
But I don't know what you mean, though.
I
because
it's
again,
really
I'm in
falling
a
away
system of
from
white
God.
supremacy, so I'm not as smart. Because you have access to the white supremacists. You're close with them, so you're a little
That's
smarter
right.
than me.
I'm as smart as
You're
they
a
are,
little
buddy.
smarter than me.
If you
But
can't
so I
beat
just
them,
need clarity. I just need
if you
clarity.
can't beat them, join them.
Yes. And I know them butter biscuits are good in the big house, ain't they?
That's who it's
Jesse?
served. So let me
But
ask.
what do you mean by falling state? What,
falling away from God.
falling away from God? How?
Do you believe in God?
Of course.
And so how do you know you believe in God?
I feel the presence of God because I'm a minister. I'm a minister, so I believe
Are
in
you?
God. Oh yeah, I told you that last time, Jesse.
You may have. Are you a
Yeah.
Christian minister?
Yeah, I'm an all-denominational minister.
What does that mean?
That means that all denominations come from African spiritual systems. So I look at it from that perspective. Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all of that stuff comes from African spiritual systems, and that's where I come in, and that's how I practice it.
And so based on what you know as a minister and your relationship with God, do you believe that human beings are in a fallen state based on your teaching?
Okay, fallen state
Away from
what?
God.
Away from God,
Yeah.
how?
No, just give me a yes or no on it.
I can't give a
So
yes or
let
no.
me
You're
ask you
not-
this way.
You're asking me, that's like,
is
well,
it
do
possible to fall away from God, turn away from
That's
God?
like asking me, does a unicorn's horns taste like granola bars? I
Is
don't
it-
know what you're talking about. You got to
Right,
really,
I
you
understand that.
just got to be very clear on what
Right,
you're
I
asking
understand
me.
you don't know what I'm talking
it's-
about.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
So
know
let
what
me ask,
fallen state means.
is it possible-
Well, fallen by meaning if you're victims of white supremacy, yes, we have fallen. Yeah.
Is it possible for human beings to turn away from God?
Yeah, the white supremacists, they've turned away from God. So they're a very clear example, and we are now worshiping them. We're subject to the white supremacists. So yes, we worship white supremacy now, unfortunately.
You worship the white man?
No, unfortunately, brothers like you, and I'm not disparaging you, Jesse, but too many people collaborate with the white supremacists, and that's been one of our problems for a
And when
long
you
time.
say collaborate, in what way?
Collaborate by regurgitating their talking points and allowing themselves to be shields for the white supremacists. And that's been the thing that has kept white supremacy in power, because African people, unfortunately, we started to say, let them take the wheel, because we had a lot of fallen empires. Even before the white supremacists came in, there was a lot of infighting in Africa. So in order to build that, it takes a lot of strength and discipline. So a lot of Africans said, okay, we'll just let them
Let me
do
ask
it.
you this. Speaking of Africa,
Yeah.
Mommy Africa, what happened to black people in Africa that they allowed the wealthy blacks to sell them to the to the Arabs, and the Arabs went out and sold them around the world? Why, if blacks are so, were they smart in Africa, or were they dumb in Africa, or were they just Africa?
Well, they were smart, and what happened, there was a lot of warfare that happened.
Between the blacks?
Between the Africans. There was a lot of infighting. In any nation or any continent, there's always going to be infighting. There was infighting all over Asia. There was a lot of infighting in Europe. The Europeans were killing each other left and right.
But in Africa,
But in
that was-
Africa, there was the same thing. There was a lot of infighting. But the thing is, with Africans, they let other groups come in and infiltrate them. Europe, they didn't really do that. Well, the Moors came in. African black people came in and really civilized the Europeans for a long time. But then they started infighting in Europe. And that's been one of our problems as African people. We do too much damn infighting. So other people can come in and infiltrate us.
So are you aware that in Africa, blacks sold other blacks? You're all aware of that, right, into slavery?
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lie.
You're not aware of that?
That's a lie.
At one point in Africa,
that's like
blacks
saying
were
that's-
using other blacks as money. Did you know
That's
that?
like saying, well, Sheriff Clark is, we should blame him because blacks are in jail in Milwaukee. I mean, he's a victim of white supremacy himself. He's a collaborator because he's subjugated to
Clark
white
is-
supremacy. I'm just giving an example.
Sheriff Clark is a victim of white supremacy?
Oh, yeah. And I'm using him as an example. Just like in Africa,
me
by the
ask-
time, hold on,
I
bro,
want to
let
go
me
back
unpack
to the
that, bro. Let me
question of
unpack
selling-
that, brother.
Blacks selling other blacks. You said that did not happen.
Let me unpack that, because the thing is, it wasn't a collaborative effort between black people saying, okay, we're going to get together and just sell other black folks. The white supremacists came in the middle of that, unfortunately, and there was infighting, so they would sell their prisoners to the white supremacists. And a lot of Africans, once they found out what happened, like Madame Tinubu, Nzinga, they fought the Europeans off once they found out they were not bringing the African people back. So there's a lot of history to that.
That's so
but
amazing.
Africa was already dominated.
So let me, because of
Right.
time, don't be talking so fast and so long.
Okay.
You remind me of
Don't talk fast. But look, I got to get you out the sunken place. Look in the flash.
You remind me of
of what?
Professor, what's that black guy name? He says a whole lot of words but no meaning. Dyson. You know who Dyson is?
Yeah, I know Dyson. So you saying I'm not meaning? Are you saying I'm saying a lot of words and no meaning?
Yeah,
Jesse?
you're speaking fast and you're speaking long, but you're not making
Look in the flash, Jesse.
At all. You're not making any sense.
Damn, Jesse.
Let me move on to something else I didn't know about you.
Okay, good. What's that?
You've written, from what I read here, several books, right?
Yeah.
And you write on relationships.
Okay.
And one is called
Jesse,
The Art
of Macking. Jesse,
of
you about
Macking.
are we about to start deflecting, Jesse, into some? You about to pick a quote out of my book and then
first,
try to,
what is the art of
Lord,
Macking?
Jesse. So I used to write dating and relationship books, Jesse. So you pretty much, I know you're familiar with some of the books.
I'm not, but
you are. You're familiar.
But
with
I'm not.
Yes, Jesse, you're familiar with the flies you dress and the white women you be macking. You a player about yours, dude. You know about some macking. You older than me. You know about macking. You know what macking is. Macking is talking to women. You know that.
Oh, so macking means talking to women.
That's what it is.
So the art of talking to women.
And my book kicked off what they call the PUA movement, the pickup artist movement. A lot of white dudes got my book and they started the whole pickup artist movement based on the stuff in my book. So it was about dating and relationships. Those pickup artist dudes picked up on that and started using a lot of my stuff. Some of them even plagiarized my book. And what was interesting, a lot of those pickup artists started to morph into the alt-right and they became some hardcore white supremacists. So this is one reason why I tie in race and relationships when it comes to dating and when it comes to any kind of interaction, because race is going to always come up.
Do you believe that black men should marry or date or marry white women?
I mean, if they choose.
You okay with that?
Yeah, if they choose.
Okay.
As long as you're not a.
Should they?
Yeah.
But how would you know they're not a? They married to a white person, they could be according to your rules.
Well, based on their actions. It's about an action, a mentality that you have. So you date a person who's non-black, and then you start collaborating to harm black people collectively. Well, that's the thing that makes you. When you proactively engage in behavior that will harm other black people.
Are all black people one?
All black people one.
Except the ones you guys call the sellout. Are all black people one?
We're all victims of white supremacy. So yes, in that respect, yes.
I noticed that a lot of black men are dating outside of the black race. Mm-hmm. They're not dating and marrying black women. Do you know why that is? Because
when you look at the media and they show black women, they show you stuff like Precious, and they'll show you movies like The Blind Side. And black boys are growing up looking at black women in a negative light because the white supremacist media portrays that. They portray the black women as negative or the black women as mammies, and they portray the white women as princesses and goddesses and sex symbols. So when you see that nonstop, you're told that white is better, white is better, white is better. Unfortunately, that permeates in your mind. So.
Oh, I see. So right. Is that happening because their mothers have set a bad example for them?
Is it the mothers?
That's why the media is able to turn them away from the black woman toward the white woman, because the black mothers have set bad examples for the boys.
No, like how would the black mother set a bad example?
But I'm asking you, is that's why
I mean,
media,
I don't know. You telling me, this is new to me.
Why
what
is
kind
the
of
media
example?
able to turn them away? Because if they had
the media is very powerful.
If they had good mothers and good relationship with their mothers, they would naturally be attracted to a black woman.
Right.
But you're saying that the media and others are making them believe that the white princess is the way to go. Is that right. because the mothers have been bad examples for them and they hate their mothers?
No, not at all. I don't think they hate their mothers.
Why would they be easily turned away?
Not easily, if it's something that's really thrown at you every single day. It's just like smoking. Hell, your mother might not smoke cigarettes, but if you see ads about smoking nonstop and ads and billboards about smoking nonstop, you'll try that. There's a lot of stuff that children do that their parents didn't do. A lot of them do things out of rebellion. And even in white society, there's a lot of white women who are rebelling against white society by dating non-white people, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in white families that, as we see, you have a lot of sexual harassment cases and charges and rape charges and molestation charges going on in white society. And then a lot of it has to do with programming by the dominant society. For example, a lot of people in the white nationalist movement, they'll say, well, white women are dating non-white men because the Jewish media. They'll blame Jewish people for doing that.
Yeah, I noticed that in all cultures that seem to be victim-minded people blaming someone else for their problems.
Right.
You believe in racism, right?
Do I believe in racism? Do I believe in it? It's white supremacy, of course. It's systematic white supremacy. It's not a belief. That's a reality.
And do your parents believe that too? Do
Well,
they believe there's racism?
They experienced it. No matter if they believe it or not, they experienced it.
But did they tell you they believe that it's racism, or did they call it something else?
Well, that's the thing, and that's a very good point you made. A lot of times we call it something else because the white supremacists, they like to create false opposition. And really, it's all the same thing. We use terms like segregation, well, that's white supremacy. Use terms like Jim Crow, that's white supremacy. Use terms like fascism, that's another word for white supremacy. All of these things are the same, and we get confused by all these labels.
So did your parents call it something else, or did they call it racism?
Sometimes they refer to it as segregation, Jim Crow.
Yeah, because when I was growing up, blacks were not angry and demoralized, and they didn't believe that white people had control over them like that.
They didn't?
And
when did you grow up? When did you grow up?
I never heard the word racism. They call it segregation, as you said.
That's racism, Jesse.
But they also knew that
that's racism.
They also knew that it was good and evil in all cultures.
But when did you grow up? In the 50s and 60s?
Let me just finish this for you.
But you got to unpack what you're saying, though, brother.
Hold on.
Okay.
And so blacks were decent people back then, prior to the civil rights movement,
right?
And the brainwashing and dumbing down of black people. Not all, but most. And they called it what it was: segregation,
which is white supremacy.
They knew that.
You do know segregation was white supremacy, right?
They knew that the laws were bad that separated the blacks. So
what were the laws?
That under the Jim Crow laws, that white
Jim
and black
Crow is white
together.
Supremacy, Jesse. You're going back to white supremacy.
It was the government that created those laws.
It was
white people didn't create those laws. The government did.
The government was run by white supremacists.
Let me just finish the point, though.
But the government was run by white supremacists. The government is not some mindless entity.
How many times are you going to say white supremacists?
Because you're using all these words and you're talking about the same. But Jesse, calm down, Jesse.
But let me ask you this question.
I don't want your energy to jump off on me.
Let me ask you this question.
But Jesse, you're using different terms for white supremacy, though, brother. You understand that? Jim Crow was white supremacy.
Okay.
You got that?
So if your parents called it what it was, why did you deviate from that and call it white supremacy?
Because I'm telling you, brother, it was all the same thing. You saying that black people were more decent, they were decent, and they still were subjugated to white supremacy back in your day when you were growing up. And you grew up in Alabama. I lived in Alabama too. See, we got a lot in common, Jesse. See, the thing is, once you what part of Alabama were you in?
I lived near Montgomery.
Okay, I was in
Tuskegee, Montgomery.
Yeah, I was in Birmingham and Leeds and all that stuff. And the thing is, when you're around hardcore white supremacy, and it was hardcore even when I was growing up in the 80s in Alabama, two things are going to happen to a black person. Either they're going to comply with white supremacy or they're going to rebel. Now, you and I, we grew up in the same state, basically. I rebel against white supremacy, and you complied with it. Now, I would like to know what happened.
Maybe that's why you're controlled by white people now.
What happened with you as a child that made you want to comply with white supremacy?
Because you rebel, maybe that's why you're so into the white thing and controlled by white people, and they don't really care about you at all.
I know they don't.
But
they care about dominating us.
You're into them, but they're not into you. But I want to ask you some more questions because we're running out of time.
Good.
So you believe that white supremacists exist. I want to know exactly what do you want from white people?
What I want for them to stop practicing white supremacy and replace the system of white supremacy with justice. I want them to redistribute the maldistributed resources that come with systematic white supremacy. I want them to punish.
You want reparations? Does that mean reparations?
You can call it whatever. I don't.
But is that what you're saying for the understanding?
Redistributed resources that were maldistributed because blacks had their resources maldistributed. We were denied things, and it was codified by the government. Do you agree with that?
Meaning reparations, right?
Well, we were denied things that were codified by the government. The government
like
sanctioned
what, for example?
With jobs, housing, health, all types of not reparations, but all types of resources that were given to the dominant society. The dominant society meaning white supremacists. They've been giving reparations for the last 200 or 300 years.
Amazing.
Right.
And so you want reparations from white people exactly. You want them to stop being white supremacists.
Reparations from white people or the resources that were generated from free African labor. If it wasn't for free African labor, there would be no wealth in this country, Jesse. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I disagree.
Okay.
100% disagree.
Where did it come from? Where did the wealth of this country come from if it wasn't for free African labor?
The hard work of the men and women, the good men and women of this country.
So
of all
the
races.
free African labor
But
weren't good men and women?
let me ask you this.
So the free African
No, I
labor,
don't wanna
those were
waste
not
time.
those
Hold
were
on.
not good
Hold
men.
on. I wanna ask you another
deflecting
question.
means you don't believe what you
Right.
said, Jesse. But
I
it's
want to
okay.
ask you another question.
Okay. Deflecting means you don't believe what you just said, but I got you.
I grew up under the Jim Crow laws.
White supremacy.
And while growing up, Black Americans, including my family members and others, did better for themselves then than they do today, and they were not complaining about white supremacy.
Yes, they were, Jesse. You're telling a lie. Looking at me telling a lie. Yes, they were, Jesse.
Let me finish.
Jesse, they
Well,
had a
maybe they were
Montgomery.
in your neighborhood,
You grew up
but
in
not
Montgomery.
in my neighborhood.
Jesse, they had the Montgomery bus boycott where you live, brother.
I didn't live in Montgomery.
You said you live near Montgomery,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Right.
But
They
let me finish
had
the
a bus
question.
boycott, brother. Why was there was a bus boycott that led off the civil rights
That was
movement?
to change the law,
The white
so that blacks
supremacist
would
law.
be treated under the law
Exactly.
equally.
Exactly.
But let me ask you
So
this.
we agree.
But it
Thank
was
you,
about
brother.
all that other mess.
Right. But
let me ask
we
you-
agree. You actually agree with me. But go ahead, brother.
Let me ask
Go
this.
ahead, sir.
I grew up under Jim Crow law
Yes.
down in Alabama.
Right.
My family members and other blacks that we knew owned land. They took care of themselves. They learned to work hard. They were very creative. There were black universities that they would go to and come back as professionals. They had money. Matter of fact, I had one of my aunts, her husband got married, bought
And by the way, you know, those black
bought
universities
buku
were
land,
funded by whites, by the way.
Bought buku land.
But the black universities were funded by whites.
Is that a negative?
I'm just saying, you're making it seem like it was an independent thing. Unfortunately,
It was just like all universities now. They got
were-
some money from the government,
they were
and
funded by whites.
they put money in themselves.
And they
But
funded many
let me
of them in the
finish
South so
point.
they can keep black people in the South so they couldn't go in the North and compete with the immigrants that were coming in. But that's neither here nor there. But go ahead.
Let me finish the point.
ahead.
Blacks they got married for the most part, had their children under the umbrella of marriage. The kids were decent kids where they didn't kill each other, and
Right.
whites or blacks. They and those kids went on to do well in life. They were not having abortions.
Right.
And they were not having truckloads of children out of wedlock.
Exactly.
Why were blacks more decent and love was right and did what's right with the laws being there against them than they are able to do today? And they were not victims. They didn't blame anyone for their circumstance.
They were decent back then, and more families were intact back then, and they still were dominated by white supremacy because that's why they had a civil rights movement back then, Jesse. There was a reason why you're talking about this utopia that black people were good, which we were, and we were still getting our brains beat out. That's why they had a civil rights movement, sir. That's why black people put on their church clothes and got dogs sicked on them and water hoses sicked on them because they were still under the system of white supremacy. As decent as they were, they worked hard, they were educated, and they were still getting beat up by the white supremacists, Jesse. So we can't
if
deny
white people
supremacy.
don't give you reparations, will you live a life of unhappiness, feeling like a victim and blaming them the rest of your life if they don't give you reparations?
Well, the thing is, we have to do the best we can do, unfortunately, under a system of white supremacy until we learn how to produce justice. This is why victims of white supremacy have to get codes in order to replace the system of non-justice, which is white supremacy, with a system of justice. We just can't keep collaborating with white supremacy so a couple of us can get some butter biscuits and some crumbs off the table while everybody else is on their ass.
Do you know who Booker T. Washington was?
Absolutely.
And you know that he was born enslaved, right?
Yes, I do.
And you know that in spite of that, he didn't have that hatred in his heart. And his family was sold, his brother died off, and all kind of stuff happened to the man.
Yep.
But he didn't hate. And as a result of not hating, he became a primary figure in America, a good example for mankind. He founded Tuskegee Institute. And he too was hated by the race hustlers, the so-called talented 10.
Yep.
You know, all those people who were blaming white folks. Do you admire him?
I love Booker T. Washington.
And
you know
what
why?
did you love about him?
I love Booker T. Washington because he learned how to hustle white supremacists. He knew how to get out there and get all that money from those white supremacist philanthropists, and he would go to black people and say, cast down your buckets where you are. He gave a very famous speech that a lot of black people were upset about. They kind of thought he was a little bit too, but secretly, you look at his autobiography and his diary, Booker T. Washington couldn't stand white supremacists, and he secretly funded black radical groups at the time, and this is why the federal government had to put agents on him, like R.R. Moten and all these people, to kind of
Who told you all that?
I read.
You made that. Who did you read that from?
I read. There's a lot of books about Booker T. Washington that you need to really read up on. There's a lot of. He couldn't stand white supremacists, and he got that money, and he.
That's not true about him.
Oh, that is
Booker
true.
T. Washington was not into the white supremacy thing.
Oh, yes,
and
he was.
Booker T,
He knew what the game was.
Booker
He
T talked about the black race hustlers back then.
It's documented
as
fact.
they are
he
today.
Was conning. He was hustling.
W. Du Bois and all those guys hated Booker T because he wasn't hated the white man
was
and
hustling,
black.
and I love that.
That's
See,
not true.
Booker T. Washington, yes, he did.
It's unfortunate.
Just like you're hustling the white supremacists too. And that's why I like you. That's why I'm here. Usually people who are classified as coons, I don't mess with them, but I like you because I know you know how to hustle these white supremacists by regurgitating their talking points, and they pay you and they give you stuff. And I tip my hat to that.
Do you believe in good and evil?
Of course.
You believe there's good and there's evil?
Of course.
And what do you
and
believe?
You're good the way you hustle these white supremacists.
What do you believe about good and evil?
That's a very empty question. I don't even know what that means.
Okay.
What do I believe about good
and evil? Let me ask you this.
What do I believe about good and evil? What does that mean?
You said that you are a minister, right?
Yes, but
and do you represent God?
Jesse, you're just asking me random questions with no context in them.
Do you represent God?
Do I represent God?
Yeah.
Of course I represent God.
You represent God.
Yes.
And so do you represent good or evil?
I represent good.
And so why do you act as though you don't know what good and evil is, and if you represent good?
But you're asking me what's the difference between good and evil, and that's kind of obvious. So
what's the difference?
Good means you practice justice. Evil means you practice non-justice. That's all it means.
Amazing.
And justice means you guarantee that nobody's mistreated, and you guarantee those who need the most constructive help get the most constructive help. That's the basic definition of justice and the basic definition of good.
Do you love all white people?
Just not the white supremacists. I love white people, but not white supremacists. I do not like white supremacists.
So you don't love all white people?
Not the white supremacists.
Do you love all black people?
No. I don't like too many black people who collaborate with white supremacists.
So you don't like the Uncle Toms and the sellouts?
Like,
you like?
And you asked me this before. You said because Jesus loved the coons. And
do you love?
You're like one of the only coons I like.
Why you like me?
I like you because I know you're hustling.
If I wasn't hustling, would you like me?
If you weren't hustling, like Sheriff Clark, I don't like him because he's a real. He's not like you. I think when Sheriff Clark looks in the mirror, he calls the police on himself because there's a Negro in the house. He's a different kind of than you. You getting money. You dress like a player. I love you, brother.
I have to tell you, you're so wrong about Sheriff Clark. I know him. I mean, I don't even deserve to dust his shoes off. He's such a good man. But let me ask you this,
we had a
time. Oh, I'm going to ask you about the. Am I going to win this year?
I brought you an honorary train award.
Oh, cool.
Yes. I brought you an honorary train award.
And why do I get the honorary?
Because you lost to Sheriff Clark last time. Can you hold
I sure did. I was disappointed.
Yes. Got to get my belt.
So am I going to win it for this year?
Yes. Hold on. I don't know because the audience has to judge it. Hold on. Good. I had to give Jesse his honorary train award. Right. Show him your train award.
There it is.
Man, congratulations to Jesse.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Black Americans. You know how to think.
Yes. Yes, my dude.
I'm gonna put my train here.
Yes.
So am I gonna win this year?
I don't know, because we have the audience judge who should get it. It's a real contest. So we have the audience. It was you, Sheriff Clark.
My friend beat me out last year.
Yeah, it was.
What did he do to beat me out?
I want to say it was Diamond and Silk. It was somebody. It was the of the year. So
right.
Yeah, it was the of the year because we had different categories.
Right.
We had in an ensemble. We had like all the Trump pastors. It was a whole bunch of things. we had sports. It was a sports. We had Charles Barkley, Ray Lewis as a cat. So
Charles Barkley is a cool to you guys?
He was in the category. He was in the category, yeah.
But he's not any different than you people
are. Like how? What do you mean?
He's last week. This week we had an election in Alabama.
Yeah, he was down
for
there
senator, and he supported the Democrat.
Yeah,
the godless Democrat.
Yeah, and
but let me ask.
I agree with that, by the way. I agree. You know, do you know I'm a conservative?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't play that Democrat thing. I don't really look at it political parties like that, but if I were to be classified as one, I would be classified as a conservative in the same realm as Dr. Martin Luther King. He was a Republican.
Right.
So that's why I call
Most
myself
blacks were Republican back then.
Yeah, I call myself an MLK Republican. That's what I call myself.
Oh, yeah,
because
I
I
saw
believe
that.
in the same views and values that he believed in.
But he would be disappointed in you hating white people and blaming them for your failures.
I don't hate white people. Do you know my wife is mixed? My wife's mother is white. So
Ooh.
yeah, my wife is a
Don't
black
say
woman.
that loud.
Yeah, my wife's a black woman, but you know her mother is white, and I don't
Do you
hate
call her mom?
I don't call her mom. I have a mom.
Let me ask you about this because
Yes.
of time we're running out
No
here.
problem.
What do you think of the great white hope,
What's that?
President Trump?
Well, we're gonna have to give you another award for that. Oh, I love Jesse, but you be overselling this. Oh God, that's funny. So
Before you answer
you
that,
know what? You know what?
Before you answer that, would you have voted for Judge Roy Moore had you lived in Alabama?
Oh Lord, no, Lord,
But
no.
not for the Democrat either.
No.
Okay.
No,
So
because I disagree with them just voting for Doug Jones just because there's a racist on the ballot. See, we got to stop falling
well,
for that.
he's not
thing.
a racist. But let me.
Yeah, he kind of is.
He's
but
not. I know Judge Moore. He's not a racist.
well,
lady.
he convinced you, he didn't convince me.
But what do you think of the great white hope
Okay, hope for who?
for all of America?
You think that
Americans.
Donald Trump, who sat here and said that white supremacist terrorists were very fine people, that's the hope for America?
He did not say white supremacy terrorists are very fine people. Why are you saying the president said you're supposed to be an honest man?
Yes.
Don't lie on the president. He said you were referring to the fight in Virginia, right?
The murder in Virginia wasn't just
That's
a fight.
what you're talking about.
It was
right?
a murder. The murder.
Are you referring to that though?
It was a murder in Virginia, right? You do acknowledge it
You
was a
mean
murder.
when the little riot thing broke out?
It wasn't just a little riot thing.
I'm
It was
just
a
trying to-
murder. There was a
for the
white supremacist
audience,
murder.
I want to know what you're referring to.
I'm referring to the murder that was in Virginia. There
The
was a
riot
murder.
that happened in Virginia.
It wasn't just a riot. Boy,
Well, are you
Jess is earning them
you're
biscuits.
calling
boy.
it
Hold
one
on.
thing, I'm
That's
calling
why-
it another one. But let me ask.
right.
The alt-right went there to hold a rally.
Mm-hmm.
They had permit to do it. The ACLU fought for them to have that permit
Right.
because they have a right of free speech as everyone
That was
else.
beyond free speech.
Alt-right does.
Killing?
The,
are you saying killing somebody
the,
is free speech? They got the freedom to murder people.
Let me just make the point.
Do they have the freedom to murder
Antifa
people?
showed up, the haters showed up, heavily armed, and attacked them. What were they supposed to do? Allow themselves to be attacked?
So running down an innocent woman.
No, deal with that first.
No,
what were they
no,
supposed to do?
No, because they weren't attacked when they ran down an innocent
No.
woman and
It
murdered
led
her.
up to that. But
It
let me
didn't
ask.
lead up to that.
What
They
were
went
they?
there
You're
for
not
the
answering the
violence,
question.
sir, because they went there for the
Antifa
violence.
showed up and attacked the alt-right. What were they supposed to do? Just lay down and get killed?
But the alt-right planned on committing murder. I even tweeted
They did
before
not
they
plan
went.
on. That's
I
not true
tweeted
either.
before they
That's absolutely not
planned
true.
on doing a terrorist act.
What do
They
you say
planned on
about
it.
Antifa showing up and attacking them?
Who's Antifa?
The radical left, the ones that hate the alt-right group.
I don't know what a radical left is, and you're supposed to hate an alt-right group. Alt-rights or white supremacy
And
Nazis.
so they showed up, the Antifa showed up in mask.
Right.
They brought weapons with the intent to attack. Alt-right was there with permit to march and hold their rally, and they were
But
wrong.
they were armed, and they weren't permitted to be armed like that.
Was Antifa wrong for what they did?
Were the white supremacists wrong for killing people?
So you're not going to answer that.
Are you not going to acknowledge that they murdered somebody?
So, and the president said
That's
that.
why I like you, Jesse. You know how to stick to it.
The
That's
president said that it was
Because the
wrong
name of the game
on
is
both
to
sides.
always deny white supremacy. Always deny it. But don't oversell it, though,
don't-
Jesse. Don't oversell it,
Let me
because you
just-
start overselling it, they're going to do you like Omarosa and throw you up out of the game. See,
Let me just clear up for you and,
Yes.
and for the audience.
Yes.
I don't believe there's no such thing as white supremacy.
Yes, you do.
There's no such
but
thing
they
as
have to pay you
racism.
to not believe in
There's
it. They
no
have to
such
pay you to
thing-
deny it.
Hold on. There's no such thing as racism.
The name of the game
Hold
is
on,
to
just a moment.
deny white supremacy, disparage black people for the white supremacists, and deflect into the Democrats and the liberals.
All right. No such
As
thing
long
as
as you do those
racism.
things, right.
No such thing as sexism,
I
homophobism,
Mm-hmm.
Islamophobism. It's either right or wrong, good or evil. None of the other mess exists.
There you go.
But the president said about that riot in Virginia there that it was wrong to hate one another, that we need love.
Yeah.
And so why would you take a message of love and say that he promoted white supremacy?
Well, Donald Trump has been promoting white supremacy all of his adult career. Donald Trump has had housing discrimination against black people going back to the 70s. He has job discrimination going back to I mean, it's not
That
amazing.
is so amazing.
Would
Would a white supremacy do good?
That's either true or it's not. I mean, it's documented
Would
facts,
a white supremacist do good toward black people?
but you do acknowledge that Donald Trump has housing discrimination lawsuits
Show
against
me
black
one
folks.
person on earth who own a house or apartment and don't discriminate.
Oh, so it's okay to discriminate against the law. The law says
discriminate?
The law says you're not supposed to discriminate. So are we just disrespecting
Do
the
you
law
discriminate?
now? Are we just disrespecting the Constitution and the law?
If the law is a bad law, yes.
Okay, there you go. So white supremacy is a bad law, and we should be against that. And I agree with you, Jesse. I 100% agree with you.
Do you
See, we're on the
discriminate?
same page.
Do you discriminate?
Discriminate how?
Do you discriminate?
I'm not in a position to discriminate against anybody.
Do you discriminate?
I'm not in a position to systematically discriminate against
So let
anybody.
me ask
Because we're talking
I'm
about a
asking you a
system.
simple question.
We're talking about a system.
Do you discriminate?
You haven't defined discriminate as
Amazing.
far as systematic.
So
How can I systematically discriminate?
let me
against
ask
somebody?
again.
Jesse,
Would a
Jesse,
white supremacist
Jesse,
do
Jesse,
good by black
don't
people?
oversell it, Jesse. How can me discriminate against somebody systematically when I don't have a system to support me?
Is that a yes or no about do you
Jesse,
discriminate?
Jesse, how can I discriminate systematically when there's no system to support me?
Okay, I want to move
All right,
on.
go ahead, let's move on because
Would a white supremacist do good by black people?
they haven't so far, so no.
So they
the
won't.
definition of a white supremacist is to not do good
And
by
you
black
believe
people.
that
That's the definition. You can't be a white supremacist and do good by black people.
And you believe that
As a
you
collective.
can't be a white supremacist
and do
good by black
because
people.
Systematically,
Okay.
you have to keep black people collectively in a certain position. Now, what
Amazing.
they'll do, they'll get an individual black person, and they'll try to shower them with gifts or whatever. They'll let an individual black person live in the house.
So you believe that President Trump, the great white hope, is a white supremacist, right?
I suspect that he is.
You suspect?
I suspect
And
that
so,
he is, based on his actions.
Remember the 3 black basketball players from UCLA who went overseas and
Right.
they stole items allegedly from 3 different stores? They stole, and they were held there, not able to come home. But the Great White Hope helped them. It was because of him that he talked to the president of that country.
Not true, but go ahead. That's not true.
The black
They were coming home anyway.
thieves were from UCLA
Right.
were able to come home.
Okay.
If white supremacists will not help black people, why did this Great White Hope help those blacks rather
Because
than
that ain't
leaving them
true.
over there to rot?
Because they weren't going to rot over there. They were not in custody. They were on house arrest at the hotel. They were coming home in a few weeks. So they were already coming home, and Trump used that as a photo op. So that's not true what you just
You
said.
sound like their father, that one guy, the father of one of those boys,
Right.
LeVar Walsh.
Right. What about him?
That's amazing. He was so wicked that he wouldn't give the president an appreciation for bringing
Well, the
son
sons
home.
already thanked him, but Trump wanted the man to bow down even more. So the man, he stood up on his own morals. He didn't want to keep bowing down. And that's what makes you a man. You're not bowing down to white supremacy for them pretending that they did something for you that they really didn't do.
Do you support feminists?
What's feminism?
Those women who are into, Obama said he was the first feminist president.
Right.
There are women who call themselves feminists.
Right.
Women. Do you support them?
It depends on what you mean by feminist, because when we look at
Whatever
the first,
they mean,
all
do
right.
you support them?
The early wave of feminism, no, because the thing is they weren't really practicing feminism. They were practicing another form of white supremacy, like the Elizabeth Stantons and the Susan B. Anthonys. These women were noted white supremacists based on their anti-black views. So a lot of them use feminism to really strengthen systematic
How
white
about
supremacy.
today's feminists?
Well, the thing
Do
is,
you support them?
It's very cloudy. It's very cloudy because a lot of
So the
feminists,
yes or no, do
because
you
a lot of
support
feminists,
feminists?
because a lot of people who claim to be feminists, they don't really support black women like that. So I can't support that. If you are talking about being a feminist, but you're not looking out for black women who are being harmed, I don't really support the movement. If you're not going to do it for everybody, if it's not equitable,
So is that a yes or no?
that was what I said it is.
Amazing.
Right.
Is your wife a feminist?
We haven't defined what a feminist is. You keep saying
Is she
those
in
women
the
who believe
form
in
of a
them.
feminist?
I don't know what your definition of a feminist
Whatever your
is.
definition is of a feminist.
Well, no, because
is your wife a feminist?
By my definition, the feminist movement is a movement to help white women strengthen systematic white supremacy, unfortunately.
So whatever
So
form.
my wife ain't that.
But she is a feminist.
My wife is another victim of white supremacy like her husband.
So is that to know your wife is not a feminist?
You can't be a feminist if you're a victim of white supremacy. How are you going to help another group and you're victimized?
So let me ask you one
Collectively.
final question.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Did you have fun?
All the time. I love it here.
Thank you
brother.
for coming.
Yes, indeed, man.
I do appreciate it.
I do, brother.
Whack MCs, slam down.